or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Those are two well-known Vedic mantras that are to be chanted, or the efficacy of them is made available to those who have received that mantra in disciplic succession, Diksha. Others are not, they're restricted from even knowing what the mantras are, what to speak of receiving the mantra without the proper formality of Diksha. So, Brahmana initiation or receiving Gayatri mantras, there must be a prerequisite in eligibility. But the Hare Krishna mantra doesn't have those restrictions. Anyone. It's therefore accessible to everyone and therefore most merciful for anyone, everyone. And simply chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is sufficient. Initiation into the chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra Maha Mantra. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know if this is what you're asking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just as Krishna is fully independent, the Maha Mantra is also fully independent. It is not dependent on anything. The Purva Samskara procedures are necessary for Gayatri Mantra chanting. But the Hare Krishna Mantra, there's no prerequisite. Anyone can chant, it stands alone. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, even Diksha is not required for chanting Hare Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is quoted in the purport saying, like a 5-page purport, saying, if you're on the platform, I'm keeping it simple, if you're on the platform of Shukadeva Goswami, then you don't need Diksha. For the rest of us, we need Diksha. Because that the formal connection through spiritual master to the disciple, that purification is needed to make us able to receive that which the Maha Mantra can bestow. And the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra helps one to become Chaita Darpana Marjanam, become cleansed and qualified, sufficiently qualified to receive Brahma Gayatri mantras, or Gayatri mantras that our Brahmanas receive. And those chanting of those Gayatri mantras, it's further purification. And that further purification helps us to chant Hare Krishna mantra properly. And then chanting Hare Krishna mantra properly helps us to enter into that which the Gayatri mantras are giving us. I'm saying that part, I'm saying again, one helps the other and vice versa. But the receiving of Gayatri mantras does require prior qualification and greater responsibility. To be a Brahmana, initiated Brahmana, there's a great responsibility, great facility. Service of the deity is made possible through the mantra. With that facility comes responsibility. Brahmanas have a great facility and they have a great responsibility. It's not that one who chants Hare Krishna is in a lesser position, but there's privilege, there's facilities and responsibilities that go especially with Brahminical mantras. Now, I don't know if I answered your question because I'm not sure what your question is. Have I hit it? Does that address your question?
Yes, I think. So they're not like mutually supplement each other, but they are mutually enhance each other. Is that what I understand, correct?
I don't know what, I have a hard time hearing in the sound system in the temple room. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. When I'm sitting talking with you, I don't have a problem. When I'm hearing you speak through this speaker system, I have a problem. Whatever it is, I can't, so can you come here and say it? Everybody else doesn't seem to have a problem that I have. But I can't hear. So just come and speak without the microphone, and I can hear what you say, and then I'll respond to whatever it is that you want me to respond to. Come closer. Come right here. You don't need the microphone, because that doesn't help me.
So I'm saying like
No, just without the microphone. Just say it loud. Let me, just so I can hear you. Just speak. Go. Not shout. Just say.
Okay, so are the two are not supplement each one another, but they are enhancing each other.
They're enhancing one another, yes.
It's not Mahamantra. The Mahamantra has to be complemented by the Gayatri mantra.
No, it's not that again, the name of Krishna stands alone. The name of Krishna doesn't need anything. But it enhances one's ability to enter into the fullness of the Hare Krishna mantra, to have Gayatri mantras. But the Hare Krishna mantra is sufficient. It stands alone. It's not dependent on anything. A qualified chanter doesn't need Gayatri mantras. For worship of the deity, Gayatri mantras are required. I mean, here's one of our Shastra Rajas, kings, is Bhanuswami. And Bhanuswami takes the position, if you're not going to do deity worship, you don't need Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra is the medium, or the means through which one approaches the deity. One worships the deity through Gayatri mantras. So we're in reverse. If you're not planning to do deity worship, there's no need for Gayatri mantra. And if you're going to do deity worship, you need Gayatri mantra because you approach the deity through the mantra. That's a fact, scriptural fact. So one enhances the other, but the Hare Krishna mantra stands alone. Fully independent, not dependent on chanting Gayatri mantra. Does that clear up the question? Okay. Now, Amritananda, you had another question. Can you do the same thing? Just come forward. Right after the morning class, he was sharing something with me, which you can speak into the microphone, but I need you to say it without the microphone too, because somehow I get lost with this microphone system.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Go ahead.
So Maharaj, my question was, yesterday you had instructed that we should chant from the heart.
Chant from the heart was a topic yesterday, yes.
Correct. Usually we do it dry, mechanical from the mind. So we should do it from the heart. And I tried doing a few rounds from the heart. But then the mind was, instead of listening to the Maha Mantra, it was all the time, am I chanting from the heart? Am I chanting from the heart? Is this from the heart? So what advice would you give, Maharaj?
Okay. You said it a little differently this morning. You said you started speaking about chanting with feeling.
Yes.
That's what you said this morning.
Yes.
So chanting from the heart is a phrase that devotees use. Chant with feeling is a phrase that devotees use, and they're not equal.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But I'm just not, you have to be sorry.
I thought it's the same thing. Sorry.
No, it's not the same. But, you know, this is the alignment. Remember that nice Sachinanda Swami graphic? The castle, and there's the three gates, and there's the body, mind, and the heart. So feelings are generally thought of as being in the mind. Thinking, feeling, willing are functions of the mind. So I may feel pleasure, like on our way over here. Maybe we'll say. So there's some devotees from South India, and they like this temperature. I grew up when it was this temperature. This is really comfortable. When I was a little boy, little girl, this is life. It's nice. And some other people, it's uncomfortable. So it's the mind. It's, you know, the senses, that's the body, are getting a reading, and then the mind says it's pleasure or it's pain, it's happy or it's sad. You know, there's a feeling that's within the mind. That's generally the connotation of feeling is something that's within the mind. It's how you read a thing. One man's food is another man's poison. That's the mind. Some like it hot. This is when we were kids. Some like it hot. Some like it cold. Some like it in the pot, 3 days old. That was a nursery rhyme for kids growing up in America. I don't know if you heard that one.
Yes, Maharaj.
You heard it in India?
Yeah, it was 9 days old in India.
9 days old.
Yeah, Maharaj.
Okay, 9 days old. Okay. So it's modes. That's what it is. Goodness, passion, ignorance, 9 days old. So that's the mind. And the influence of the modes on the mind. Then the heart is something that's more subtle. Now, different devotees and different acharyas have different explanations of what the heart is and how it's distinct from the mind. And for that matter, some say that the heart is actually the soul. And, you know, so there are different readings of what those terms mean. But so back to your question, you know, what does chanting from the heart mean? And if I'm trying to chant from the heart, how do I avoid getting distracted from the real business of hearing the mantra when I'm trying to, you know, chant from the heart? So one of those phrases that I repeated 3 times, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, is that chanting from the heart means you're acting from the place of who you really are. That's the soul. And when you're acting from the place of who you really are, that's this reaching to Krishna, please accept me. That's from the heart. You can feel good about it, you can feel sad, you can feel this, you can feel that. That's the mind. But calling, please accept me, or please engage me in your service. Another way that Prabhupada said it is, it's a call for a relationship. Please accept me. It's an appeal for a relationship. That's when there's alignment, that's the body, the tongue, and the ear. And then the mind is having a feeling, and then there's the heart. It's the genuine calling of acting from who we really are. When there's proper alignment of body and mind, that's chanting from the heart. So a call from the deepest place within us that is in a relationship with Krishna. The relationship with Krishna can be joy, the feeling in the mind can be joy, it can be, you know, separation, and that's sadness, or and it keeps, if on the transcendental platform, it's like waves, it keeps moving. And the appearance within the mind, maybe this, maybe that, maybe the next thing, and the next thing, and it keeps moving. But the heart connected with the relationship with Krishna doesn't change. It's from the place of who we really are in our relationship with Krishna, who's our real shelter. And it can be the sense of connection, it can be a sense of disconnection, it can be whatever it is, but the relationship is everything. And that's the place that I'm chanting from that being in my relationship with Krishna as his eternal servant. Humility is very common in that feature. I'm unqualified, etc., etc., etc. It's not low self-esteem. It's a transcendental humility if it's coming from the heart. And I wish to be again reinstated in that loving relationship. And in the mature stages, there are those devotees that are in that relationship. And then they're having desires in different ways to improve their service, or to have this exchange or that exchange with Krishna, or like Mahaprabhu, you can do with me whatever you like. Please just engage me in your service. You can neglect me, you can embrace me, you can trample me, but you're my only worshipable Lord unconditionally. That's from the heart. Okay. Now, when you're trying to do that, it's not, if the mind is becoming a boss, saying, evaluating, excessively evaluating, instead of aligning, but excessively evaluating, then you're not acting from the heart. You're acting from the mind, and the mind is going this way and that way, as it usually is accustomed to, ruling and directing things. Therefore, my dear mind, please sit down. I'm going to Krishna. That's the heart. Yeah, sure.
So, Maharaj, when we are chanting, all these things, what the mind feels, whether it is joy, all the things that the mind feels, we should just ignore it, even if it is positive feelings, like we get a feeling of joy sometimes while doing Japa, a couple of mantras, it feels really good. So should we just keep it aside and keep calling out to Krishna, like, please pick me up, pick me up?
My standard answer for something like this is, it depends. Meaning, make sure the alignment is in place. That is, you're continuing to act from the heart, and then you can notice naturally the discriminating factor of the intelligence is going to not shut off, and it'll notice, is this in my relationship with Krishna, or is it the other distraction? Now, if Krishna is reciprocating, there's joy, and feel the joy. And you'll find out quickly if it's not in relation with Krishna, because the mind will then start drifting into other areas besides you and your relationship with the holy name or your relationship with Krishna. So my reply is, it depends. It can be something that it enhances, it's an exhibition of Krishna's reciprocation with you. Or it can be the other. Like I shared, this expression of Badahari. And I say Badahari because when I just say the name Badahari, it means he's a human glubjaman. He's just so juicy. He loves the name. And for him to say, it was so dry. Now he's in his relationship with Krishna, with the holy name. And it's fine for him. I mean, this is how I processed it after so many times of thinking about what he was saying. His relationship with Krishna is fully intact. And sometimes there's this interaction with Krishna where it's like that. It feels dry. It's not possible. For somebody like him, it's not possible. For the rest of us, it can be, because we're distracted and mechanical. And so it depends whether you pay attention to that feeling or not. The essence is, how connected am I with Krishna? And humility says, I'm unqualified. I mean, look at our great acharyas. They're saying they're not qualified. When we say we're not qualified, it's not the same as they're saying they're not qualified.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Focus on the relationship. And the medium, in one sense, the medium is the holy name, but in a higher sense, the relationship is with the name. It's not just a medium to get somewhere. It's the relationship with the holy name. And as that consciousness becomes stronger, then there'll be all kinds of feelings, and that's just fine. Then it's meaningful. And otherwise, we neglect. And then there's the in-between. And it comes and it goes. And that's the uncomfortable zone that we're in. We're not there yet, and we're not, we've been chanting for how many years now? And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. So that's like, that's not just humility, that's fact. So again, it depends. The feelings that are felt while we're chanting, how much importance you place in it depends everything on the sense of relationship that you have with the name and with Krishna. And of course, those who connect you with Krishna, the disciplic succession, our great acharyas, etc. So now what we just did is not what the plan was for this time. The plan for this time, I'll say it again, because now thank you. We'll go back and forth between the men's side and ladies' side. Somebody would like to share what their experience was and some of the tools or messages that helped them the most, how those messages help them connect with the name.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. After many months, I was able to get up at Brahma Muhurta time today, second part of the Brahma Muhurta time, and start my chanting. This was like accomplishment for me because I was struggling to get up at Brahma Muhurta time due to some reasons I didn't know. And all these years I gave importance to chanting, mood with which I chant, consciousness with which I paid a lot of attention to strengthen my Krishna Sambandha, like just now how you were explaining. Example, yesterday's last slide said, by cultivating our connection with Sri Krishna in his Vachaka, holy name form, gradually and naturally we will be invested with a potency which will touch and transform the hearts of others in amazing and unexpected ways. These kind of teachings and scriptural statements nourished my mood of chanting. So everything I heard and read was with the mood of improving my chanting the Harinam. But yesterday when you said Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's spiritual year fairs, that when we chant, our spiritual ears will be pierced with the holy names, that actually improved the quality of my hearing the Nama, which is the first time I was not paying so much attention to hearing the Nama. I was paying more attention to chanting the Nama, the mood with which I chant the Nama. And the last point is point that even though ears are hearing, the point which you explained, even though ears are hearing, since all other senses are envious of Krishna, there is no cooperation of other senses, so we are not able to improve. We will lag behind the chanting. That part helped me a lot. So I focused on hearing more, not worrying about other senses, how they're distracting me. At the same time, I focused on chanting the Nama properly with the proper mood of my identity as spirit, soul, and servant of Krishna. So I'm very grateful that my hearing part, my misbelief I had about chanting the Nama kind of got cleared. Thank you, Maharaj, for strengthening faith in the Namas through all the seminars. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
100%, 50%, 50%. It's not you, it's the system. It's not you, you're fine. When we're speaking, I have no problem. Yeah, but we have a large group and so we have to hear 50%. I don't know what to do. Maybe we can get another sound system. So I want to say something that may help you based on what you said, and I hope you can hear better than 50%. If you find that you're getting distracted, to pronounce the name carefully, you have to hear. So this is a trick. Pretend that you're preparing, or even do it. Prepare yourself to have your chanting recorded and that somebody else is going to listen to it. Whoa, you're going to pay more attention to that sound when you know that someone else is going to listen to it. One of the things that we've done in Japa retreats is have everyone sit in pairs and one person chants and the other person just listens for a whole round. And the feedback is, that was the best mantra, best one round I've chanted since I can remember, because I knew somebody was listening. So I was being very careful. And then when the other person, when you're listening to another person chanting, you can hear when their attention starts to drift. In the sound, you can hear it. So you have friends, and you make this experiment. Ask a friend, if I send you, two Hare Krishna mantra rounds, would you critique it? They'll be good mantras. You practice for a while, and then they'll critique, and they can. And when they do it for you, they'll tell when you're attentive and when you're drifting. It's the mind that's drifting. It's not the mouth. It's the mind. And so if we're hearing, your chanting is, the making of the sound is going to be clearer and better. And then the mind is also packed by the hearing. The ear conquers the mind. Okay, I'm going to just stand next to whoever the man is so I can hear what you say. On this side, anyone would like to volunteer their experience? You're going to volunteer? Okay, let's.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. It was a really wonderful experience today. As Vilas Manjir was saying, that was the Nama Prabhu was to establish the relationship with the Nama Prabhu. That was the catchy point from the morning which you made. So my focus was completely on to hear myself. It went on the way. At some point, I was hearing and the mantra was speaking to me. And I had like 124 rounds today till now. And it was like at some point, I think around 80, 90 rounds, I felt like I was completely drenched in water kind of a thing. I took a bath kind of an experience. And at some point, even just after that was like, my spine was like completely erect again, like being more lighter. That's the experience which I wanted to share, but that was a trick, hearing the mantra to yourself. Initially, it went very slow, but once it was like got into the track, it was so fast. I couldn't even believe the way it was passing on the chanting.
Four zero. She's an intense chanter. She was downstairs, I was upstairs. She came up to Paul, I hope I'm not disturbing you. I said, oh, your chanting is really good. She chants loud and strong. Good. 124.
I don't do the, for every round, blanking out, the Guru mantra. So I start out and I end up with all the rounds.
Okay.
So that's the reason probably.
Have you ever wondered why there's 20 counter beads? Here's why. 16 times 4. Those are the other 4. Those that chant 64 rounds, that's the other 4. You move a bead when you chant 16, you move another bead when you chant 16, next 16, 64. Okay, anyone else from the ladies' side that would like to share what their experience was and what was the resource that helped you the most? And I know how to call on people. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for this wonderful retreat. It's been a long time we had Japa retreat here in the temple because of COVID and other things. Today, my chanting was 100% better than the regular days. First, I did not believe that quantity can improve the quality gradually. I did not believe that. But today's rounds were something explaining to me that it works. First, before coming to the temple, I was able to do 27 rounds and they were really good. Before even started my chanting, I just went to the deities and prayed that I should be not having the doership mentality. That helped me. And then I was meditating on the Dhyana Chandra's verse, which your previous retreat shared.
Can you hear back here? They can't hear.
Hare Krishna.
A little better.
Okay.
A little better.
Just quick summary. I went to the deities and prayed that I should not have this doership mentality, because doership mentality generally we think only for the activities, but even for chanting, though it is the relationship between me and Krishna, I'm not the doer. Krishna is the one who is making me chant lovingly for him. So I wanted to get that off. So I prayed to deities. And then I went to Tulsi Maharani side and chanted few rounds over there. I felt good. I felt nice. Then I was thinking, with the association of the devotees in the temple hall, I will do better chanting. This was good. 26 rounds was good. And then I came here. I heard the class. I was still enthused. I wanted to chant better. I wanted to chant better. But somehow, because of my nature, I don't know, devotees were coming in and out. I wanted to attend them. New devotees were there. They don't know what is happening. Somehow little distraction was there. But later, I was focusing on the third point, which whole seminar was going on, Adav Shraddha, Jata Shraddha, and the third one was Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu, indifference to the activities leading to the fruitive results. So I was trying to focus on that, but still I was not able to concentrate on chanting with that focus also, because it's gradually it should come. It's not like which I can force and get it, that Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu. It's a result of Jata Shraddha and chanting with faith. So I said, this is also not going to work. And then I checked with the points what I wrote. And what helped me is, it's not the outcome which is important for us. That was one of the slides Maharaj shared. It's not the outcome which is important, but it's the relationship with Krishna what is more important in the process. So it helped me a lot. And somehow with Krishna's mercy, Maharaj's mercy, this retreat and all Vaishnavas, I was able to chant.
Okay. I'm looking at my watch, and I think we need to switch to the next event. This is kind of a, it's time to switch to the next event. I'll take one more, maybe from the men's side. But Avik, can you get set up for this Kevalastakam service?
I didn't raise the hand, but it came to me. So thank you, Maharaj. It was very powerful. I would say that the word, very powerful, the chanting since morning. I would like to...
How many rounds today so far?
72 rounds.
72. Good.
Yesterday after the class, one devotee was standing there and was mentioning about the chanting today morning. I said, let's chant 64 rounds. And this Prabhuji mentioned, no, it's not possible for me. I said, why? I said, I hardly chant maybe 4 rounds or at the most 16 rounds if it permits. I said, chant from the heart, not from the mind. I said, chant from the heart, not from the mind. So I said, why? Why do you say that? I said, when you have this 64 in your mind, it may be so impossible for you to do that. But when you take in your heart that I'm doing this for Krishna and for pleasing Krishna, and so that this is my responsibility, my duty to do it. So I said, chant from the heart. I said, okay, I'll try. So that Prabhuji came today and chanted. I saw that long time sitting and chanting. So that, whereas that point helps a lot, that I really appreciate that. The chant from the heart, that really touched me as well, because we didn't know that the difference between chant from the mind and chant from the heart. That really helped me also today. I would mention that as well, probably a few months back. I was one of the Ekadashi, I was about to chant. I decided on the previous night that I would chant 64 rounds next day Ekadashi. So I had a dream on that morning which I was about to chant. That Srila Prabhupada came. Srila Prabhupada was very wonderful, smiling, and talked to me around 10 minutes.
Really?
And then while leaving, sort of such a big smile on the face. Then I was planning to chant 64, but that day I chanted 128 rounds. And I was wondering, really it was the mercy of, and Srila Prabhupada knew that what is going to happen. Somehow I connected that, and that's the day today also I came and paid my obeisance and prayed to the Srila Prabhupada, please bless me so that I can chant. So somehow, and also I took a vow that today morning I won't eat anything until I finish my 64 rounds. Because of last time when I started chanting, the break-in came in between, and the ecstasy that which you develop, that the connection and the feeling that which you are really connected, and that, somehow it's broke in the last time. Today I decided, okay, not like that, just focus on chanting. Then as I could feel that is, we are connected from the heart. That's exactly the point, chant from the heart. And then my tears was on my eyes. And when I chanted with that feeling, with that connection, and I could see that, I could also realize the real meaning of wakefulness, the Jagrada, the wakefulness, that I realized that yes, this is wakefulness, that to be with Krishna, be with the chanting. And that was quite...
You and Amritananda, you don't need to go to Vrindavan. You're already in Vrindavan. Your heart is in Vrindavan. So, Avik, are we ready? Okay. We're going to move into the next activity, and it's going to require getting Zoom set up so I can show you Kevalastakam and we can sing Kevalastakam together. Do you have your musicians? Okay. There. You give it to your father. I'm encouraged by the responses from this group. Let's do this again. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Houston with another theme. The theme is Say Yes to Krishna with the devotees in Houston. So if you want to do it next weekend, you can join us virtually. Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
This is a celebrated song amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas, certainly within ISKCON. It's an ashtakam, it's 8. It's out of 8 taken from a shatakam, or 100 prayers glorifying the name. It is very simple, very short meter. The history is there was a contemporary of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, not a well-known Vaishnava, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote about him in The Harmonist, And then this became an ISKCON thing, and nobody really knew where it came from until somebody came across Bhaktivinoda Thakur's article from The Harmonist. But it's nice, short, and it's a lead into the final class we'll have at 5 o'clock. So if you're ready, I'll stop speaking. You ready? Okay.
Madhuram madhure bhyopi mangale bhyopi mangalam Madhuram madhure bhyopi mangale bhyopi mangalam Pavanam pavane bhyopi Harinameva kevalam Harinameva kevalam Abrahmastamba paryantam Savamayamayam jagat Abrahmastanyapayantam Saramayamayam jagat Satyam satyam punah satyam Harinameva kevalam Satyam satyam punah Harinameva kevalam Saguru sapita chapi Samata bandhavo pisa Samatam sapita chapi Samata bandhavo pisa Siksaye chit sada smartam Harinameva kevalam Nisvasena hi visvasa Kadarudo bhavisyati Kirtaniyamato balyad Harinameva kevalam Hari sadavasit tatra Yatra bhagavata jana Gayanti bhakti bhavena Harinameva kevalam Aho dukkham mahadukkham Dukha dukkataram yata Kachartam vismritam ratna Harinameva Kevalam. Diyatam diyatam karna niyatam niyatam vacha niyatam niyatam karna niyatam niyatam vacha giyatam giyatam nityam harinameva kevalam. Tinikitya jagat sarvam rajate sakalo pari. Tinikitya jagat sarvam Chidanandamayam Sudam Harinameva Kevalam. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam. Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harinameva Kevalam. Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harinameva Kevalam. Harinameva Kevalam. Harinameva Kevalam. Harinameva Kevalam. Harinameva Kevalam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Harinameva Kevalam. Harinameva Kevalam.
Oh, thanks. Could you get ready for the evening slide presentation? Acquiring a taste? Okay. So Kevalastakam leads into the final hour's presentation, but Kevala is a strong word. Kevala is a word that Vaishnavas like, and Kevala is a word that impersonalists like. Impersonalists like the word Kevala as in Kevala Advaita, absolute monism. And we like Kevala Bhakti, absolute Bhakti, absolutely nothing but squeaky clean, Krishna alone. Ekatma Bhakti. So the first phrase, Madhuram Madhare Byopi. Amongst all sweet things, the chanting of the holy name is more sweet than all sweet things, the most sweet of all sweet things. Mangala, of all auspicious things, it's the most auspicious thing. Pavanam means purified or purifier, the greatest purifier of all purifying things. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Kevalam, alone is everything. We're going to go through these. Brahma, from Lord, exalted Lord Brahma. Stambha is a clump of grass. Brahma Stambha Paryantam. It's from the topmost to the bottommost. Sarva Maya Mayam Jagat. It's all a product of the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Satyam, Satyam, Puna Satyam, Harir Nam Eva Kevalam. The only thing that is reality, reality, again I say reality. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Now it's really nice. It's a nice Sunday feast class to sing Kevalastakam and have 10 speakers or 8 speakers or 16 speakers speak something for some time on each one of these phrases. It's really nice. I've had experience, really nice. I've done this like 5 times with Badahari, and it's really nice doing with Badahari. Very nice. Sa Guru Sapita Chapi. That person is a true guru or preceptor, a true father, a true mother, a true friend also, only if they teach one to always remember Harir Nameva Kevalam. The story of Dhruva, I just spent some time, 10 sessions on Dhruva Maharaj, and his mother, Suniti, is a true guru. She's super mom. When Dhruva was in such distress, she was feeling this, like imagine a mother, some of you are mothers, having a child come crying and what's the matter? What's the matter? What happened? And he was so much distressed he couldn't even say. But the people that were in the palace, they told her what happened. And her heart was pierced with the harsh words of Suruchi. And the child is crying and crying. The first thing she said is, don't hold ill feelings towards anyone. Don't be an ill wisher towards anyone, because you do like that, it'll come back to you. Don't do like that. Then he was able to speak, and he said, I don't just want my father's kingdom, I want better than my father's kingdom. I want better than my father's kingdom. And she said, Lord Vishnu alone can help you achieve that. She immediately went to Bhakti. Immediately, because that was her heart. And she had that faith. And she transmitted that faith as mother to her son. Only if they teach one to always remember, Shikshaya Chit Sada Smartum Harinam Eva Kevalam. There is no certainty when the last breath will come and put an abrupt halt to all one's material plans. Nikvase nahi vishvasaha kada rudho bhavishyati kirtaniya mato balyat. Therefore, it is wise to always practice chanting from very childhood. Now, these teachings are Bhagavatam teachings. They're Vaishnava teachings, but they're just very concise and very sweet and very melodious. Lord Hari eternally dwells in that place where truly exalted, spiritually advanced souls Gayanti Bhakti Bhavena, sing in the mood of pure devotion. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So I'm a little concerned about time. I guess we're okay. We'll go through the rest of them. Aho, dukham, mahadukham, dukhadaram, yata. What a sorrow, what great sorrow, more painful than any other misery of the world. This is Dhruva, mistaking a mere piece of glass. The people have forgotten this jewel. One of the first words I learned from Prabhupada, Sanskrit words, was kacha. Kacha and paka. Kacha is not very nice. Kachartam, piece of glass. This is Hari Bhakti Sodadaya, where Dhruva is lamenting. I was searching for a broken piece of glass. Instead, I've gotten this precious jewel. Ratna. What's that precious jewel? Harir Nam Eva Kevalam. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Diyatam karno. Diyatam vachaha. It should be heard again and again with one's ears. It should be uttered over and over with one's mouth. Giyatam, nityam. It should be perpetually sung and sung anew. Harir Nam Eva Kevalam. Trini. Straw. Trini krityam jagat sarvam rajate sakalopari. It makes the entire universe seem insignificant as a blade of grass. It splendorously reigns supreme over all. Rajate sakalopari. Chid ananda mayam shuddham. It is full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. It is supremely pure, Shuddham. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. And this is the Astakam out of the Shatakam. And I haven't seen the Shatakam, but I know that there is one. And this is a well-known song amongst Vaishnavas, and particularly amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and particularly amongst Hare Krishna Vaishnavas. So it's a nice one to learn, along with the Hare Krishna mantra. So now I'm hoping our control room back there can connect to acquiring a taste? Someone's back there? So can you drop that one? There we go. Well, maybe I can just do it from my computer. Just change the. Huh? Yes. Yes, I can do it. Much better. Good coaching. We're good. We're good. I mean, what I see on my screen is not what you're seeing up there, but that's okay. I just disconnected from the meeting. Microphone stand. I'll trade you. Screen sharing. All right. Technology, when it works, is great. Okay, acquiring a taste for the name. And this is connected to the Madhuram Madhare Bhyopi. Remember that one? The first line of the Ashtakam, Keval Ashtakam. Madhuram Madhare Bhyopi. It's a superlative amongst comparatives. So sweet, whatever is sweet, honey is sweet, right? So whatever is more sweet than honey, now it's not changing. Honeybee. Want to be a honeybee? When it comes to the holy name, it's the sweetest thing. Okay. There's they must have a name for that thing that's shown on the upper left. It's when they dip into the honey and test the honey. You see the honeybee crawling around it. The honey within the holy name is remembrance of Krishna. This is Sanatan Goswami speaking or writing from Brihat Bhagavatamrita. The holy name of Krishna is the highest nectar. It is my very life and my only treasure. This is from Skanda Purana. The holy name of Krishna is the highest benediction above any other benedictions. It is sweeter than the sweetest honey, the eternal fruit of transcendental knowledge of the tree of the entire scriptures. Somebody was asking about this one. The entire fruit of transcendental knowledge of the tree of the entire scriptures is within the holy name. The holy name unlocks that highest transcendental knowledge. The holy name of Krishna is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on Shikshastaka, verse number 2. The holy name of Krishna is sweeter than the sweetest honey, the most beneficial activity among all auspicious deeds. It sounds like Kevalastakam, right? Madhara Madhare Biopi, Mangale Biopi Mangalam. Most beneficial activity amongst all Mangala activities or deeds. Here's a Kinchana Das Babaji. Kinchana Das Babaji was a godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. Here's a photograph of him. He's a celebrated personality in Bhakti Siddhanta's line, and he was a great lover of the holy name and a great lover of Srila Prabhupada. They loved each other very much. He didn't write books, he chanted. But here's something he wrote. Chanting the holy name of Krishna is the true nectar. The holy name is like honey. Sometimes it doesn't taste like honey. Sometimes it tastes like sawdust. Dry. But that's us. It's not the name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This something that doesn't taste sweet, it tastes bitter, is what the effect of a jaundice is when you take rock candy or mishri. Syat Krishna Nam Charitari. Sita, the sita is rock candy. It's another name for misri or rock candy. Sita api avidya pito patapta rasanasya rochikanu. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendentally sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. You recognize the verse? Nectar of instruction. Those of you that like to take Bhakti Shastri study, it's a really good verse from Nectar of Instruction. Very important verse. Of course, Rupa Goswami is teaching us about Bhakti. And in Nectar of Instruction, it's about Bhakti and up to the highest stages of Bhakti, from the beginning stages of Bhakti. But this is in the middle. And the chanting of the holy name is very important in awakening the natural inclination, the soul's natural inclination, the heart's natural inclination to be in a relationship with Krishna in service. And in the beginning, it's like someone who has the jaundice-like condition of avidya, and it doesn't taste sweet, although it's sweet. The sweetest of all sweet things, transcendentally sweet. But for the person who's jaundiced, it tastes bitter. Remedy, simply svadi kramad bhavati tad grahad mula hantri, down to the very root, mula hantri, to the very root, it gradually destroys the disease of avidya. And when the disease of avidya is cleared, then the natural consciousness of the soul, which is filled with knowledge, this is our teaching. What's the verse? Somebody here who likes Srimad Bhagavatam verses. What's the verse in Canto 1, Chapter 2 that says essentially this? That when the avidya is cleared by bhakti, the natural knowledge that's within, transcendental knowledge that's within, becomes awakened. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojataha Janayata Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitukam. So beneath the avidya is who we really are. And who we really are is having these characteristics of, same as what we heard in the earlier sessions, detachment, vairagya, detachment from worldliness, and knowledge. Knowledge and detachment are a couplet found throughout the Vedas, jnana vairagya. So how do we access it? Bhakti. When you clear away the avidya, the natural bhakti that's inherent within the soul becomes revived. And our primary means for achieving that is the chanting of the holy name. And then from that, the other activities of bhakti, they come naturally. We saw this. Now, I didn't understand. I should have figured it out. I understand this evening you're going to have another guest speaker for the Sunday feast for the Central New Jersey Temple. So stick around, because Gauranga Prabhu is a superlative speaker. Now, I thought this, what you're seeing, it was going to be for that evening audience. I didn't put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4. This class starts at 5 and ends at 6. And then there's Arti, and then there's Gauranga. So you saw this slide before. At least most of you did. Some of you may not have been here for this. Anyway, what's at the heart of carefully chanting? There we see a whole bunch of hearts. And the heart of carefully chanting is bhakti. And that's the key. Carefully chanting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's lots of things to say about this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that the only prerequisite for bhakti is faith. Because from that, everything else for one who is faithful is supplied. Krishna sees, here's a faithful person. They want to know me. He sends his representative, his bhakta. And then the bhakta gives bhakti, it nourishes that faith, and then comes devotional activities and so forth and so on. So what is at the heart of carefully chanting? It's bhakti. So what's bhakti? Bhakti is what's at the heart of bhakti. This is the one you saw. There's the activities itself, the 9 processes of bhakti, and then there's the inside that is the object that one is trying to serve. And then there's the mood, or the heart of the heart of the heart, which is the intention of pleasing Krishna. Should we do that again? Let's do that again. So the topic is carefully chanting. And you recognize that this is a little bit like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshastaka 1. In Shikshastaka 1, there's so many glories of the holy name. And then Shikshastaka 2, he has so many names. And he makes them readily available. There's no requirements. There's no vidhis, no prohibitions. But unfortunately have no attraction for them. It tastes bitter instead of sweet. I have no attraction for it. Who likes bitter? So at the heart of carefully chanting is bhakti. And how do we get that? Bhakti starts with faith. And what's at the heart of bhakti? Well, there's the activities of bhakti that we learn from scriptures and devotees who are practicing bhakti. We learn that Krishna is the object of that devotion, and it should be exclusive, kevala. Harinam eva kevalam. But then at the heart of all of that is the intention to please Krishna. That's chanting from the heart. And that's chanting with taste. The intention to please Krishna, it's not an event. It's a process. It's a gradual, uninterrupted, steady relationship building exercise. Strive to attend to his name uninterruptedly with rapt attention from the heart, with the intention that this is meant for Krishna's pleasure. This image is the image of the master and the servant. There's the master, he's ringing the bell. And the servant is holding the bell out, just waiting for the master to ring the bell. That's the mood of the servant to the master. And Krishna is the master. It's not just a sound. The name is a person. Although we don't have that realization, we say yes to the philosophy, but we don't have that realization. Svayameva Sparatyada hasn't happened yet for us. But we practice, strive to attend to his name uninterruptedly with rapt attention, and we'll hear the bell ring, or we'll feel that presence of Krishna. Such loving, attentive service mood attracts the all-attractive's mercy. Krishna is all-attractive. How can we attract the all-attractive? Throw in the towel, forget it, it's not possible. No, he's attracted to bhakti. He loves those who extend their love to him. He loves everyone, and he naturally loves those who extend their love to him. Prabhupada makes it really simple. Here's the same thing, really simple. Supposing there's parents, and they have a number of children. And amongst those number of children, one of the children is particularly affectionate. They have affection for all their children, but one of the children is particularly affectionate. So their affection naturally flows to that very affectionate child. It's very natural, not unnatural. They have affection for all their children, some large number of children. One is particularly affectionate. They're affectionate to that child. And Krishna reciprocates naturally. He has feelings, loving feelings towards all living entities, his parts and parcel living entities. Some of them are wild and they do really cuckoo things. Okay. He sanctions. You shouldn't do that. But okay. There's consequences, but okay. And then those that are affectionate, they want to do what he wants. They want to do it with feeling that this is because you want it. So that attentive service mode attracts the all-attractive, and his mercy descends. His name then bestows a special mercy, and that's taste, because taste in the sequence of bhakti comes much later, ruchi. Ruchi comes after anartha-nivritti. And after anartha-nivritti is steadiness. And then after steadiness comes taste. So when will we get that taste? Well, when the anarthas are nearly gone. Going to take a while, right? So that sweetness, madaram madarepyopi, may take a while for us to appreciate. But those that have undergone that process of getting rid of the jaundice-like avidya, then the taste can come. The taste is there. The disease is now reduced, not completely gone, then there's taste. Bhakti is sometimes compared to a creeper. Bhakti lata. We know the verse. Pramanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhakti lata bija. So there's an image of a creeper, and creepers by nature cling to something. So what's the bhakti creeper going to cling to in order to acquire a taste for the name? We're chanting to chant the name. The bhakti creeper has begun. It's been bestowed upon us by the kripa of Guru and Krishna. What's it going to cling to? Well, let's start with this same verse, this Adau Shraddha verse. And there's this preliminary faith. It's a little seed that kind of sprouted when Krishna sent some sadhus. Here's this Bhaktivinoda Thakur phrase. Listen at this. Shraddha, which develops for bhakti, is endowed with ruchi. Remember, ruchi is way up there. Shraddha, which develops for bhakti, is endowed with ruchi. And this Shraddha is none other than the seed of the bhakti lata or creeper of devotion, which is sown in the heart of the jiva. Have you ever wondered about that verse? I'll share with you my wondering about the verse. A and B, which is it? A, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajya Kabunoi, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udoi, which means Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundara Ki. Okay. Krishna Prema is within the heart of every living being. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kabunoi. It's already there. In the heart of every living being. You know, bad people, worms and mosquitoes and bugs and trees and every living animals. In the heart, everything that's every soul has Krishna Prema already within it. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajya Kabunoi. Shravanadi, beginning with Shravana. Shuddha Chitte, consciousness becomes purified. Karaye Udoi. That Krishna Prema is awakened by the Shravana, etc. Shravana means the other 9 processes, the other 8 processes, starting with Shravana. So Shravana. So that's 1, that's A. And then B, the mercy, by the combined mercy of Guru and Krishna, the seed of bhakti is given. Do you see any contradiction or apparent contradiction? It's already there, then you have to receive it. Which is it? Can they both be right? Answer, definitely. Krishna Prema is inherent in the jiva. Krishna Prema is inherent in the jiva. Our relationship with Krishna is within. However, it's dormant. How dormant? It's as if it doesn't exist for the materialist. It's as if it exists, but it's so covered. It's as if it doesn't exist. But you come along with a cleansing method, starting with Cheto darpana marjanam. And you cleanse away the coverings, plural, layers and layers and layers. How many layers? Bhurijan Prabhu says maybe 3 miles worth of layers. Keep cleansing. It's there. So what's the bestowal? Krishna Prema, how is Krishna Prema there, but Bhakti is bestowed? The seed of the creeper of Bhakti is bestowed. So there's nature and there's nurture. There's inherent and there's inherited, and they're both correct. I'm mentioning this because there's a current controversy out there in the ISKCON world that says it's only this one, it's not that one. Shraddha, which develops for bhakti, which is already inherent, is endowed with ruchi, and this shraddha is none other than the seed of the bhakti lata or creeper of devotion, which is sown in the heart of the jiva. So that means the agent, the merciful agent of Krishna, the Sankirtan devotee or the Kirtan devotee or the preacher or the somebody that awakens that innate faith in reaching Krishna. So it's awakened, but it's presently asleep. That's how it works. So there's, in the beginning, there's this faith. Then he writes, only the Shraddha, which is endowed with ruchi for bhakti, culminates in the symptoms of bhakti. This is called Sharanapati. We saw this earlier today, didn't we? In the morning. So this is for the Sunday feast class that's not the Sunday feast class. This is review for all of you. Okay. Then apati, this word apati means attaining. Sharanagati and Sharanapati. They have a similar meaning, but they're not identical. Shraddha is not a limb of bhakti. This is from Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha, which of course Bhaktivinoda Thakur very carefully followed. Shraddha is not a limb of bhakti, but an attribute for the adhikar or qualification for Shuddha Bhakti. So faith is needed to reach Shuddha Bhakti. Say it negatively. Without faith, we're not going to reach Shuddha Bhakti. Say it positively. When there's faith, it's a qualification for Shuddha Bhakti. And it can be nurtured. So there's the nurturing image from little seeds to a little sprout. Once we connect to this place in our heart, service to Krishna becomes so intrinsic to our being. And then we get the taste. Dive in the honey. But there's some purification needed, some qualification needed to get the taste, because until that purification or qualification is achieved, it doesn't taste sweet. It tastes something else. Sometimes the merciful Krishna pulls back the curtain and reveals some things to us, and then the curtain closes again. The way that it's described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Prabhupada writes in Nectar Devotion, that experience is just a shadow, an abhas of the real thing. The real thing is something that's totally transcendental, like what some of these acharyas have said. Totally transcendental, sweeter than the sweetest thing. And so we may get a little curtain drawn back a little bit, And then it closes, like Banki Vihari. There's the deity, and then it closes again. So that we're encouraged to go forward. But it's not discouraging, it's just a fact that we have a distance to go. That's quite okay. The journey is worth it because it's Satyam, Satyam, Param Satyam. Harir Nam Evik. It's truth. Again, I say the truth. It's absolutely reality instead of the absolute illusion that something appears to be real and it's not. And we go chasing after it and find something other than happiness. We're going to be having just a little sharing. There's 20 minutes. We're going to be having an event in Gitanagari in 3 weeks. It's for new people that know nothing about nothing. And we're giving it a nice name, Body, Mind, Spirit Retreat. And they're going to learn this and that, and yoga and nice things about the farm and so forth and so on. But there's going to be 3 of the speakers are going to be speaking about happiness in a way that's relatable to new people. And they're good speakers. Deva Amritamaraj is going to be one of the speakers. Urmila Mataji is going to be one of the speakers. I'm going to be one of the speakers. And people are going to get it, not just stereo, but whatever, quadraphonic. Awakening from, knowing nothing about nothing to having some appreciation for reality. What is real happiness? And taking a look at the other features, not just calling it a bad name, but the reality that real happiness is not found in things that are temporary. No, it takes a while to detox and understand that the temporary isn't where happiness is. And it takes a rising of connecting with what real happiness is to become a firm believer in real happiness. One of the verses I like in Prema Vivarta is the title of a book attributed to Jagatananda Pandit. Who's Jagatananda Pandit? He's an associate of Mahaprabhu that had this incredible relationship with Mahaprabhu. He was junior, but he was so close and affectionate in his relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he could say things that were wild. And Mahaprabhu loved him because it was that kind of relationship. So he writes, one should not make the mistake of trying to cross a river with 1 foot in 2 boats. Be firmly situated in the boat of bhakti, because you'll end up in the river. Put 1 foot in 1 boat, another foot in another boat, and try to cross the river. You're going to end up in the river. You're not going to be on either boat. So that's his advice. But this acquiring a taste requires a gradual moving to that position. So stay in good association, practice regularly. Remember these 3 messages we heard. Every day for a prolonged period of time with faith. Because this faith is the prerequisite for bhakti. And faith that's endowed with ruchi, then one is qualified for Shuddha Bhakti. So the taste may be a little bit, just like what we're doing with this Japa retreat. It's a little bit compared to elevated Vaishnavas. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. We're just beginners. That's okay. Begin. If you're a beginner, just begin. And make steps in the direction with faith and gradually acquiring a taste. And then know for sure that real taste is there, the sweetness. Madaram madarebhyopi, mangalebhyopi mangalam, pavanam pavanebhyopi, harir nameva kevalam. For those of you that came late, that was the song we sang before you came. We're just repeating, making a full circle. So I see that we have about 17 minutes before the arati. And I think somebody can turn the lights on in the room. And somebody else can circulate the microphone. If somebody would like to share something or discuss something a little further. Now, you've been a fantastic audience, at least, over the weekend. So I'm looking forward to some nice discussion. So don't be shy.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You said in today's class that bhakti clears detoxifies the anarthas. Bhakti is the solution, but at the same time, we endeavor to practice and detachment, it's not bhakti, it's jnana, right? So do we do parallelly both jnana and bhakti?
Let me restate what I think you're asking. Since bhakti is the essence, what is the position of studying scripture?
No.
That's not your question.
No, that's not. So bhakti clears, you said by bhakti we can clear our anarthas and detoxify the things. Bhakti is the solution, right?
Bhakti is the solution. It's
Yeah.
the means and the solution.
Yeah. So, but while practicing, for example, in yesterday's last slide, you said, cultivate connecting with Krishna through the name, holy name. You remember that last slide, Prabhu? Maharaj, we should cultivate. Cultivation is the key, like in previous class also you said. Cultivating means jnana process, right?
Not necessarily. Why would cultivation be restricted to the jnana process? You can cultivate bhakti, no?
Because in jnana process, we depend more on our endeavors. So,
But in the bhakti process, there is endeavor and there's reaching for the mercy and the purpose of the cultivation of shifting from the mode of me to Krishna. We cultivate that. It goes in steps, step by step, cultivation. Casting aside or leaving aside the me, the false ego-centeredness, and moving towards the Krishna-centeredness. That's a cultivation. The word cultivation, I'm sure you're familiar. In Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada paraphrases the definition of bhakti that comes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anyabhilasha Shunyam. You all know the verse. Jnana karmadya navratam. This anukulyena, Krishna anushilana, he paraphrases the anukulyena as bhakti is a sort of cultivation. No, literally, anukul means accept. Anukul and pratikul. Anukul means accepting. But you cultivate accepting, anukulyena, you cultivate accepting Krishna anushilana, that which is pleasing to Krishna. It's a sort, therefore Prabhupada writes, bhakti is a sort of cultivation. Not gyan, it's the heart. It's, I want to please Krishna. And that's our natural state. It's our healthy state. And then there's the disease state. where that's not how we're feeling and thinking and living our lives. He's out there somewhere, not in here. So then we cultivate. You cultivate good health. Okay. I'm standing because for those of you that weren't with us earlier, I have a hard time hearing this sound system. So I'm standing next to the person speaking so I can be very clear what they're saying. Anyone else would like to discuss something? And if not, we'll just break for kirtan and waiting for the arti.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I couldn't follow how the contradiction is resolved, like Bhakti Lata seed is there already, and then how it is given by Bhakta again. I could not follow. Could you please elaborate?
Sure. You got the question? There's the A and the B. A, Lord Chaitanya says, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya says, Krishna Prema is already within the heart of every living entity. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya. There's a sadhana to get to the sadhya. There's the means to get to the goal. Sadhya is the goal. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya, Kabunoi. It's already there. Then Shravanadi, beginning with hearing, Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitte, Karye Udoy. So it says polishing a diamond that's covered. And the diamond is Krishna Prema. It's already there. That's A. B, this is for those of you who came a little late. There's another verse that says that by the combined mercy of Guru and Krishna, one receives the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of Bhakti. So A, it's already there. B, you have to receive it. Even to receive the seed from which the Bhakti creeper grows. The seed of the Bhakti creeper is bestowed by mercy of Guru and Krishna. Sounds like a contradiction. There's one that says it's inherent, and the other that says it's inherited. The one that says it's nature, the other says it's nurtured. So, which is it? Could you help me understand that contradiction? Apparent contradiction. That's the question. And he wants me to say it again. So, by nature, the soul is Krishna's part and parcel. Bhagavad Gita. Mam evang sajiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Sanatana. Eternally, the living entity is an angsa, a part of the Purna, the complete Krishna. We're part of the whole. So we have qualities like the whole. Tiny qualities like the whole. And in that quality, there's the characteristic as there is in Krishna. Whatever there is in Krishna is in us. Satchitananda, Krishna has in full. We have some, the soul is eternal. We have some capacity for knowledge and some capacity for ananda, for happiness. But Krishna is Paramananda. And we're the little one. And the little ananda, it's the happiness, the ananda is experienced in connection with Paramananda. Like the spark has the same capacity as the fire. It gives heat and light. It can start another fire. Just a spark. But it's glowing its fiery nature is dependent upon connection with the fire. Let that spark go off some distance and land on some land. It may glow for a little while, but then it's just a little piece of carbon. Take that little piece of carbon, put it back in connection with the fire. It glows. It's fire again. So inherent within that piece of carbon, is the capacity to glow, and give off light and heat. But it's the mercy, it's inherent. Here's a chair and a table, and they're both wood. So I can say within this table, there's fire. Not hot. But if I take some fire and place it together with the wood long enough, the fire that's in the wood comes out. It's inherent. But it's also awakened, or the fieriness, the fire that's stored within the wood, comes out by contact with fire. So those are some examples. The spark that's away from the fire, or the soul inherently is part of Krishna, and there's a loving nature. As with Krishna, he has all loving. We have a loving nature. It's just misdirected. It's misdirected to all things temporary. And the list of all things temporary is a long list. But it's not with the source, which is that which brings us all happiness. So when that which helps us awaken that happiness potential within us, that's mercy. And that's this one. That's this one. Shraddha, that's faith, which develops for bhakti, is endowed with ruchi. And this shraddha, this faith, is none other than the seed, bhakti lata bija, the seed of the bhakti lata, or creeper of devotion, which is sown in the heart of the jiva. The awakening of that faith awakens bhakti in the association of a bhakta. Just as the fire that's stored in that table comes out in association with fire. So don't play with fire, because you might have a problem. Okay, I'm looking at my watch. We have 3 minutes. So maybe we should end. You have something. Go ahead, you say something and then we're going to end. Because RT has to begin on time. We do that in ISKCON. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a question that, when we have the bhakti in dormant stage, but when bhakti grow, does the all aspect of the bhakti grows, like, kindness, the shraddha,
Yes.
everything grows, but when you grow in bhakti, you see that, it's not balanced. When I see myself, everything is not in balance. Sometimes I feel that, okay, I have a lot of bhakti, but I don't have kindness. And sometimes I think that, okay, I know everything, but I don't have gyan.
Okay.
So what's
That's
the reason
immature. Because of time, I'm going to give a short answer. It's not mature yet. It doesn't mean it's not there. It's just not mature yet. So now, what do you do when you're not in a mature stage? With faith, because it must be there. With faith, in good association, stand next to fire, and the fiery nest will come out. Stay in good association, stay with good bhaktas, and your bhakti will become more mature. And you continue faithfully taking the sound vibration that comes from those bhaktas, and you let it go in your heart. And that awakens further the bhakti that's in your heart. And then the immature state becomes more mature. The little flame becomes a blaze.
Yeah.
It's not yet mature, that's all. Okay, we're going to end. So you give some direction.
Yeah, thank you, Guru Maharaj. So this concludes with our 3-day Japa retreat. Whoever has come new here, there was a 3-day Japa retreat going on. So first of all, apology on this sound system, Guru Maharaj. We'll try to fix it by Thanksgiving retreat. I would like to thank mainly the audio video room where Sharad Bihari Prabhu, Vatsal Prabhu, and also cooks, Sripati Prabhu, Pran Krishna Prabhu, and all. So thank you all. And we will see for the Thanksgiving retreat. And if you can please get up, the Gaurarti will start in a minute. So, and soon after Gaurarti,